Hi everybody, Stoane here with Wood and Stoane. Today I'm going to talk about hammers. There's a ton of different kinds of hammers, but I'm going to talk kind of more along the lines of what I use as a finished carpenter, cabinet maker, and light duty construction as opposed to what we would use for framing and whatnot. I'll touch on that a little bit, but there's all kinds of ball peen hammers and different ones that jewelers are going to use and different ones that metal workers are going to use. So we're going to focus on light duty carpentry and finish work today. Our first hammer is a mini sledge. Doesn't look like and typically isn't used for light duty carpentry, but these can come in really handy with newer homes. There's a lot of concrete around. I'll use this with a cold chisel to break out concrete to get your toe kicks nice into joints. I also use this sometimes to pound in concrete anchors to hold down toe kicks or hold cabinets in place. So this does come into play. Also, if you need something big to move around something like a reception desk just a little bit or a pantry cabinet, this can be used to move those things, but make sure you put something like a 2x6 between the hammer and the cabinet and everything is tight so you're not beating up the cabinet. But this will give you, this one's 4 pounds, it'll give you some oomph to move those things around, and oomph is definitely a technical term. Next we have probably the most used hammer in my tool bag. This is a non-marring hammer. On one side I have like a hard plastic and on the other side is a rubber. This is a hammer that we're using this to tap things into place instead of the heel of our hand. And sometimes not so much tapping, we're actually moving things, but it's called non-marring because as opposed to like a metal hammer, it dents less. It will dent, especially the hard plastic side. If you get up around the corner of the face here, that'll definitely dent, especially softer woods. But you can see this one's been with me for I think like 20 years now and still going strong. And it's one of those tools that holds sentimental value in my tool bag. But I use this multiple times a day, every single day. Next, we will get into a steel hammer, 16-ounce hammer. I've also heard these referred to as finish hammers because they're lighter duty, as opposed to like a framing hammer, which is going to have a longer handle for more leverage and a heavier head. 28, 30, 31, 32 ounces, and they often have a waffle face on them so that they don't slip as they're swinging and hitting framing nails. One of the things that's unique, I usually see this on framing hammers, but I've seen it on this one as well. This little mess up here on the top of the hammer that looks funny, there's a magnet right here, so it holds a nail. So the spots that are really hard to reach sometimes, this is made so that you can put that up there and you can set your nail before you start pounding it. So anyway, just a little feature that I noticed on this one. Usually you see that on framing hammers, but apparently Huskies decided to do it on their 16-ounce hammers. Next is a dead blow. And our dead blow, I use this, this is a little bit heavier one, but inside of here is, and this one I think it's sand, sometimes it's shot. But if you think of like lead shot, if you think of like a bean bag, when you throw it and it hits the ground, it just stops. That's what this hammer is designed to do. It's dead blow, so it doesn't bounce. It's got a lot of like, I'm not holding that down. Like I'll do it just so it drops. See how it just stops there? This is really great, again, for knocking cabinets into place. You probably want to put some lumber in between the cabinet and your hammer. But this keeps things from bouncing. So sometimes you'll hit it with a heavier duty hammer that bounces and then everything kind of bounces back and forth. Versus this, when you're tapping it in, it's just dead weight that hits that cabinet or whatever you're trying to move around. I also like using this when sometimes using like a cold chisel. Sometimes that metal on metal, you can actually have things that chip off. So always wear safety glasses when you're doing it. But I like this a little bit safer because you're not going to have metal going flying different places because that head is soft. The next hammer that I want to get into is a rubber mallet. And this one, I also, you can see I've used it quite a bit. Also probably had this one for about 20 years. But this is it's just a stick with a piece of rubber on the end. And it's meant for hitting things without creating dents. And you can get really aggressive with this because it's rubber. You'll notice that I have masking tape around the front. Usually I have it around the sides. Usually I have it across the front, and that is because this is black. And when you hit wood with this or other things, it'll leave black marks. So if you put some masking tape around it, or that's probably why I've started seeing the mallets with white rubber. So that should prevent it, and I've seen it with black on one side and white on the other. But that's basically what this is just a bigger version of the rubber side of the non-marring hammer. These are the hammers that we use most often, and that doesn't mean that we don't get into other stuff, but this kind of gives you an overview of when you're first getting started, you think, I need a hammer, and then you talk to somebody that's been in the game for a while and they have literally 10 plus hammers, but there's reasons for every one of those hammers. So that's all I got on that. I hope that you have a good day, and if you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe. We got a bunch more videos that are going to be like this for other tools.